There's a reason why sometimes I need to course correct. Because many times if we know exactly what God's going to do, we try to figure out all the missing pieces. Okay, well God, I'm going here, so okay, well this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. As God saying, no, I need to make sure that you understand that you totally belong to me, and this is my plan and not your plan. And as you go along the way, realize that there's going to have to be some course correction when you go along the way. The commandment didn't change, it's just the way that you get there may deviate just a little bit. God is still going to make sure that you win in the end, but just the path that you take to get there may change. Are you willing to take a course correction if it means helping somebody else, helping a brother along the way? See, many times people get so opinionated and so passionate about what God is doing in their life, and they're willing to run over anybody, whether it be a saint, whether it be a believer, whether it be an unbeliever, say, okay, I'm going where God has me. God says, can I course correct you for a second? Can you just take a pause and realize that it's not all about you? But you belong to me. And if I need to move you to the left or the right, I need you to be that sensitive to the Holy Spirit, because there may be somebody that I need you to deliver along the way and say, hey brother, hey, I came here, God sent me here just for you. I was headed this way, but God loved you that much that he had me course correct just for you. You can't have a command without some course correction. I realize that every day. I have this thing and I say, okay, God, I know how this is going to go. God say, okay, well, boom, he dropped something. I'm like, I wasn't planning for that. But you have to be able to handle course correction. I was talking to Pastor Raymond earlier today, and I was reminded of a conversation that Elder Regina, who is now living in Seattle, but she preached a message one day about the difference between a Twizzler and being a toothpick. Toothpick and a Twizzler. You have to be flexible when you serve God, realizing, God, okay, God, my life is not my own. But if you're too rigid and you can't move, you can't be limber enough for what God is doing. God's saying that I'm not trying to break you, I just need to move you. I just need you to be a little bit flexible. I need you to be a little bit more understanding. I need you to be flexible with what I'm trying to do, because there is a course correction. So course correct. So even if the way that he's leading us, it doesn't seem to match or make sense to us, or his timing seems to be off, or the wait is a little bit too long, or the journey is a little bit too long as well, and we're wandering in a desert place. So the last thing you want to do, but that's the place where you have to trust him, because he always knows exactly where we are. He sees the bigger picture, and that's one thing we have to understand, is that we don't always have that view. He has a higher view for our life. He sees the bigger picture. He has good in store. It may not be the way that you chose, or you would have chosen if you were in control. But I have some news to you. You are not in control. It may not have been the way that you do things, but I have some news for you, that it's not about the way that you would do things. It's him. It's his sovereignty. His care over us, the leadership that he has over our lives. So you cannot have a command without having some course correction. The next thing I want to talk about, we know about, they get to the Red Sea, and I'm just, again for lack of time, I'm just paraphrasing. We know they get to the Red Sea, and they couldn't go back because their enemy is right there in their face. But they couldn't go forward because there was an obstruction in their way. They were afraid and they had no place to go. So they're looking at Moses saying, you should have just left us in Egypt. I read, that's the thing, that's one of the things that we talk about, generational curses. When the atmosphere changes, and when things happen and they're unfortunate, and we get in a place, in a predicament, and now we realize we're ready to revert back to the old us. The thing is, when you truly give your life over to the Lord, then you have to realize that you have to watch out for your default setting. If you default to being a worrier, if you default to being a complainer, if you default to being angry, if you default to being isolated, if you default to being rejected, then when time comes and you go back to your default setting, and God said, I already know that about you, and that's why sometimes you have to do course correcting, because they realize that it's in us. Come on. He's trying to change that. So now, when things are good, things are can serve the Lord with money's in my bank account and my kids are acting right and me and my wife are on good terms. That's easy. I can praise the Lord. I can serve. I can preach. I can sweep the floor. I can do all those things. But when you're faced a trial that you don't know how to get through, when you're facing opposition and you don't know exactly how to get there, when you're saying, God, I know what you called me to do, but God, I'm receiving so much resistance, God, and I feel like sometimes it's easier to go back to what I used to have, and God say, not so, because I brought you out. Pharaoh let you go, but can you let Pharaoh go? Can you let Pharaoh go? He said, let my people go. Pharaoh said, fine, yeah, you can go. You've been delivered, but can you let Pharaoh go? That's the hardest thing to do. To go back to the default to what we had. And many times, if all you know is I've always been a slave, then you're always going to be a slave. But if you realize that, God, I've been set free, you realize, God, you have to do it, God. I thank you, God, that you will do it. You have to realize you've already been delivered. You've already been redeemed. Pharaoh has already let you go, but you have to be willing to let Pharaoh go. But see, sometimes Pharaoh is all we know because that's all you've experienced. And see, that's all I know growing up and all everyone else knows growing up around me. And it's always a part of me. God says, that's what I'm trying to deliver you from. Do you want to be healed or do you want to be whole? You could be lonely and you can get married and now solve that problem. But if you act as a spirit of divorce and rejection in you, then you're not solving the issue. And you're just moving it from one place to the next place. And the thing, it doesn't change anything because you're not getting to the root of the matter.
Yes. Preach my message. Go ahead.
So they Exodus chapter 5 verse 13 says, Moses answered the people, do not be afraid, stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. So you cannot have a command without having confrontation. You have to be strong enough to handle the confrontation. And when you meet the confrontation, God's plan that is best for you is not for you to defer back to all the things that you have already been delivered from. I've already said that Pharaoh let you go, but can you let Pharaoh go? And we think, I want to be delivered, I want to be made whole, but sometimes you've been hurt so much that you hold it, you don't even realize that you're still holding hands with your hurts. And with one hand you're reaching for more in the goodness of God, with the other hand you're holding on to everything that you ever know, and God saying, I need both hands. God said, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, and they're talking about how you lift holy hands and not holy hand. You can't be reaching and say, Pharaoh, let me go, but still holding on to Pharaoh at the same time. The thing is, I can't let you let go of Pharaoh if you choose not. If you want to hold on to Pharaoh, I can't stop you. But I can tell you that that's not God's best for you. You cannot have a command without confrontation. You will be in a position where you will be confronted to really show, do you truly believe God like you say you believe God? Your faith will be tested. But how will you know God's a healer unless you've ever been sick and needed a healer? How will you know that God is a provider unless you needed him to be a provider for you? How will you know that God could be a judge, a lawyer, a husband, a wife? He could be all the things. How would you know that when he said that I am, how would you know that unless you had a need? Yes. You cannot have a command without some confrontation. And so now they're faced with a dilemma. In verse 15 says, then the Lord said to Moses, why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to move on. Verse 16 says, raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. We have a leadership class on fourth Sundays, and that's one of the things I talked about in this last leadership class. One of the things that I thought was very, very awesome about what Moses did right here in this passage. He solidified the people. Don't worry. Don't be afraid. God's going to see us through. Just be still and be ready. And then the very next verse, then the Lord says, Moses, why are you crying out to me? so, one thing I need to understand is that your fear does not change the Lord's mind about what he asked you to do. But your fear can influence those who are following you. So if the people saw Moses was afraid, then they would definitely be afraid. And so Moses makes sure that's one thing that he did get it right. I know he got some things wrong, but one thing that he got right is that, hey guys, we got this. God, God's going to take care of us. Be confident in the Lord. He went back to God. God. You see all these people here, they already feel some type of way. And God said, why are you crying out to me? I've already spoken. And your fear does not change his mind, but your fear can influence those who follow you. You have to realize that you are equipped with what is already in your hand. You have to start where you are. You have to use what you have. It's very simple. Do what you can. You have to realize that no one's asking you to do something that you're not qualified or capable of doing. And God is not asking you to do anything that he has not already prepared you for. But the thing is that you've already been let go. Pharaoh has already let you go, but you haven't let go of Pharaoh. Because that will delay your deliverance. You will not be able to be everything that God wants you to be. You can teach and be healed. You can serve and feel healed. You can pastor and feel healed. You can sit on a pew and feel healed. But there's power when you do those things in your whole.